Lemke says, some of the highest jumpers in the world swear by doing sprints for increased vert, like THB and Isaiah Rivera. Seems quite intense to do sprints and training and vertical training and strength training. In this case, right, I would say there shouldn't be anybody in the world training for a higher vertical jump without doing absolute top-end speed work. So when we're looking at something like a vertical jump is almost to the extreme edge of the force velocity curve. It's an amount of force, right? Most people who are really training for a really high vertical jump aren't going to be incredibly heavy. They're going to be biasing their body weight more towards the lighter side of things, where they want to be pushing less mass off the floor so they can get higher into the air. In this case, because their body mass is going to tend towards lower weight athletes, that amount of force that it takes them to get off the floor isn't going to be the main thing. The main thing is going to be the velocity of that contraction, how fast they can accelerate their body through space, how much force they can put down into the floor. And so it becomes almost a maximal speed contraction. In sports science, we have the force velocity curve. At one end, we have very high force, very slow movement. This will be a maximum back squat, a maximal deadlift. At the other end of things, we would have a maximal sprint, a maximum vert jump, or something like a broad jump. So when we're training for the highest possible vertical jump we can do, things like sprints, things like broad jumps, things we're contracting to move as quickly as possible, those shorter, sharper contractions are where we should be biasing a lot of our training towards. Now, it's certainly not the case where we don't do the maximal back squats if we want to get a higher vertical jump. Of course we do. We need to think about bringing that entire curve upwards, not just bringing one area of the curve upwards. But I would say that when you're seeing these athletes doing a lot of sprint training to get a better vert, it makes perfect sense. I would say those things will almost never, or should almost never, happen independently of each other. If you want to be getting a higher vertical jump, you have to be doing the maximal speed work as well because of that. Now, I know where this question comes from. This question comes from people who are playing a sport like volleyball, like badminton, something on a court where the maximal speed you're sprinting at is rarely going to be too high, right? It's 4 or 5 very fast strides. You think about it more in terms of acceleration and reaction time than you do as actual sprints. And so we don't commonly see those people thinking about their 100-meter sprint time, their 40-yard dash time, as much as they would think about doing the shorter, sharper pieces. But what I'm here to say is, if you want to get that vertical jump as high as possible, obviously the maximal force stuff is going to be really important, but that really high velocity and lower force stuff is going to be just as important, and maybe a bit more specific to your actual case.